Hey, welcome back to Tale 3 Cabins. Hopefully we're going to finish this pole barn today, at least the construction phase of it. We're just waiting for some parts to come in. Last week they were moving full speed ahead and it looked like they were going to complete this thing in one day, but it was missing the rails for the sliding front doors. We're waiting for those parts to come in and there they are right there, so I just need to get the guys back. And it was a couple days before they came back, and which was nice because then in the meantime we had ordered weather vane for the cupola, and that showed up too, so they'll be able to put that on when they put the cupola up. So that's one of the tracks for the sliding barn doors. That'll stretch all the way across the front end. And this is the framing material for the sliding front doors. They really don't come in a particular size. I'm going to have two sliding doors. They'll be each 6 feet because our opening is 12 feet. You could have one whole door if your wall was wide enough to mount one. These are the pieces that make up the cupola. It is a bit of a puzzle. These boards will make up the top of the sliding door, and he's drilling a hole all the way through because the hangers will be bolted through those holes.
I almost have to get a correct one, huh? Unless, I mean, I can set it on like that and fasten it into, run screws down through here.
Yeah, and just put the washer for
the washer screws.
inside so
Yeah.
it don't leak.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just do that.
Yeah. Is that flimsy material on the top or no?
It's not the strongest, but I mean, I think it will be fine. Well, I'll look at it and see. Yeah.
Essentially, four things are going on here. We got the corner trim going on in the back. We got the front of the walls now, the sheet metal going up. We got the doors going together, and then we got the cupola going together all at the same time. The base mounting hardware for the cupola did not line up too well with the ridge vent on top, so they had to do a little bit of fabricating, remove the ridge vent, do some trimming, and they'll put it all back. So basically everything is finished, but the rollers that go with the track for the front sliding door did not show up. So that's another day waiting. Only a couple guys will need to come back. The doors are already assembled. It'll take just a few minutes to mount them, line things up, put some hardware on, and that'll be it. So we're going to wait another day or two, and hopefully we'll get everything squared away. We're not going to go away. We're going to stay right with it though. So don't worry, we're not going to make another episode on this. Top rollers are in. These are the bottom rollers. They'll keep the doors themselves close and tight towards the pole barn. This is the locking mechanism right here that keeps the doors together. Basically just a chain with a hook on it. Each door also has a clasp, and this helps keep the pole barn door snug against the pole barn wall when you lock it up for the night. So basically everything's done on there, and here's some of the materials that are left over. I'm probably going to use them eventually, maybe to extend our chicken coop run, and I can always use some extra lumber now and then, especially with the price of it. Not sure what the kayaks were for, but those are extras, so we're going to end up using those too. JD's been chomping at the bit to get inside that pole barn. It's going to be a pleasure to pull in there without having to pull the ropes down every time. But we got to get some of that wood out of the way, and I also don't want to keep moving it around, so I'm going to move it under my shed, and hopefully I can keep it there for a while, keep it out of the weather. That's a little bit tighter. I can get JD in here and have more room in my shed for now.
So sliding door. Why did I opt for a sliding door? Well, the best explanation I can come up with, I've always wanted one. I've had overhead doors on my garage and sheds for years. I really didn't see an advantage one over the other. If you really do break it down, I suppose that an overhead garage door is probably a little bit more secure. I know that in the fire department when we would have garage fires, they're pretty tough to get into if they're locked on both sides. And you have to do some damage to get into that garage if that's the only means of access for it. There's certain advantages and disadvantages I guess you'd have if you are building a pole barn with an overhead garage door. One of the advantages of having a sliding door is that you could take advantage of the full height of your ceiling. So if I have 10 feet walls and the trusses are right at 10 feet, the door can be right at 10 feet. If I put an overhead door in, the tracks are going to lower that maybe down to 9 feet, maybe down to 8.5 feet, depending on the type of door that you put in and if you're going to have a garage door opener or not. So you get to use the full function of the height of the door with the sliders. Now I had hoped that maybe doors would become more varmint proof. And I really think the only varmint proof doors out there are the rolling overhead doors that cost a fortune, weigh a ton, and just not would be practical for this home use that I have. An overhead door or this sliding door is not going to keep the mice out. I have the telltale signs on my garage, on my shed, and on the shed down in southern Ohio. All the insulation is eaten away down by the corners where the rubber gaskets are. And in southern Ohio, I even took some metal flashing one time to see if I could block their way of getting in. And they just chewed the plastic sealant on the sides and just went on top of that and got in. So there's really no stopping them. One thing that I want to do is try to keep anything that's organic out of here and keep all that in the garden shed, if I get to keep the garden shed, and that's still up for debate. Still working on that. I'll give you any updates once I get them. When I was pricing out the pole barns, I had one place that said it'd be more expensive to put in an overhead door, which was a company that built this. And then I had another place that said it'd be more expensive to put in a sliding door. So I'm not sure what the difference is between the two. I thought that having an overhead door was actually more expensive overall when you weigh things out, but maybe it's a little cheaper because they built the doors here on site. They just bought some tracks, used existing lumber, and then metal roofing. So if you have a preference between doors, overhead or sliding, maybe leave a comment below on why you like it. Pick out some pluses and minuses that I didn't mention here. And if you know a way of varmint proofing an overhead door or even a sliding door, let me know. So they do make kits for these to seal them up a little bit better and make them weather tight. I would say where you're going to get some drafts are going to be on the bottom and on the very top where the tracks are. But they do make these things, they're kind of long, they come in sections, and you would drill them to the perimeter of the door, and they look like real thin brooms or brushes, and it's just going to keep the drafts out. When you have a nice windy day, it's going to keep the cold out if you're trying to keep it temperature controlled inside. Just the little things to help seal things up a little bit better, but it's not going to be foolproof when it comes to varmints again. So that's the overall construction part of getting this pole barn up. Now the ball's in JD's court. We got a lot to do on the inside. We got some grading to do on the outside. Putting in a sewer, putting in some drains on the side for gutters, and trying to channel that out towards the creek area. So I appreciate everybody watching. Hope you enjoyed these videos. Hope they were helpful if you ever decide to build a pole barn. These videos are designed more for somebody who's got some carpentry skills, but if you got enough skills that you think you could build it and you want to refer back to here and just look at the videos and see how things are butted up and where they're nailed together or how they're trimmed out, I try to leave as much detail in here as possible if you plan on doing something like that. So again, thank you for watching. Hope you subscribe and click on that little bell when you want to know when a new one is coming out, and keep an eye on us. Take care, everybody.